Good morning, everyone. This is the Senate Budget and Tax Committee. We have a public hearing this morning, one bill, Senate Bill 958, non-public schools. Is this Senator Zucker and Senator Peters?
Yes.
Whoever wants to kick it off.
It's Senator Zucker, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much. This really is a partnership and collaboration with Senator Peters. Either one of us could have been the sponsor given our passion for this topic. And he was very gracious and has me presenting on our behalf today. What this bill is, it pertains to non-public education schools, special education schools. What that means is there are schools, there are private schools, if you will, in the state of Maryland that actually serve public school students. So they're paid for by the school system in the state to attend these specialized schools because of their learning differences. So they're not able to be educated in the public schools. So the state of Maryland and the local school districts pays for them as a public education student to go to these schools. Very special children and students with all different ranges of abilities. Really they learn differently, but because of the lack of opportunities in the public school, they become learning disabled. So they have this opportunity to go to these non-public schools paid for by public money. And in that capacity, they become learning enabled. And again, you have these public school students who are being educated by incredible staff, and they are providing an incredible service for the state of Maryland when it comes to public education. However, what we've seen throughout time is there's a pay inequity. So they're doing amazing work for Maryland students, public school students, but they're paid anywhere between $2,600 to $23,000 less than your public education students. And, I could tell you from going to a MANSEF, it's called, so MANSEF stands for the Maryland Association of Non-Public Special Ed Facilities. I could tell you that I went to one in New Jersey, and had it not been for the great educators in New Jersey who allowed me to call them by their first name, I don't know where I would have been today. And I know, colleagues, that we value Maryland public school students. We value all of our students, but those educators that are also educating those public school students in these non-public school placements are also worthy of the salary that's commensurate with that of the public education teachers. So in closing, I was talking to one of Senator Peters. I was talking to one of our colleagues the other day, and they said, it's amazing to think sort of where you are, Senator Zucker, and how many other of these students can get to a place to hold public office. And I said, well, that is, yes, every student who's in a MANSEF school can accomplish that. But what I envision is that based on, us passing this legislation as well, is that eventually my hope is that some of these MANSEF students will become MANSEF educators, because they've learned the empathy and they've learned the ability to compensate and work harder than most. And I just want to make sure that when they become MANSEF educators, that they're paid, and that way we can retain and attract great educators in the state of Maryland who are educating our public school students at these other institutions. I appreciate all the witnesses here today. I know we have star witnesses from our educators to our former superintendent. And I appreciate the great partnership with Senator Peters on this legislation. And I would certainly ask for a favorable report, Mr. Chairman and colleagues.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Peters, you want to say something? And if Kim, I don't seem to have the list for the testifiers, so we'll have to work through that unless you can get me one somehow. But we'll make sure we hear from everybody who would like to be heard from. So, but Senator Peters, do you want to say anything?
I think Senator Zucker really summarized it, and thank him for putting the bill forward, and thank you guys for listening to it.
Okay. I'll ask Nancy Grasmick to kick off. I assume she's part of your panel.
Yes.
And until I get a list that says otherwise, I'll just sort of wing it.
Well, good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the Budget and Tax Committee. And I want to thank the sponsors, both Senator Zucker and Senator Peter, for recognizing the serious importance of this bill. I am Nancy Grasmick, and I am currently the chair of the board at the Kennedy Krieger Institute, where we serve more than 500 of these vulnerable children. I also am a presidential scholar at Towson University, and I am the former state superintendent of schools for 20 years. But I began my teaching career working with a vulnerable population in that I was a teacher of the deaf. And I have, throughout my career, recognized the importance of teachers working with this population of students. You know, Maryland has, thanks to so many of you, a full continuum of placement options for our students with disabilities. It's a very robust system and one that is really envied by many of the states across this country. As was stated, when a local school system is unable to implement a child's learning plan, we rely on these non-public school partners. And therefore, it's important that we have equity in terms of salaries for these teachers, as well as our public school teachers. And thanks to you in the General Assembly, last year, there was a budget narrative which indicated we should have a committee looking at this issue of parity. And that study has taken place. And when we look at the disparity in salary, it can range from 7% to 25%. And I think it's reached a critical point at this time. And we are losing teachers, really losing teachers in these non-public schools to the public school system. I'm a huge advocate for the public school system, but we need these specially trained people to work with this vulnerable population. We really need excellent teachers, and we have approximately 4,500 of these children among our schools. So I would conclude, given my long tenure in the state of Maryland as superintendent, and prior to that, the governor's office for children, youth, and families. My greatest worry is that if we have to close any of these schools, we would revert back to a system that existed in Maryland and still exists in many states, and that is send these children out of state. Send them out of state, separated from their families, send them out of state with very high costs. I had cases of $500,000 per child for 1 year, and send them where there's no supervision in terms of their safety and quality of education. And that is the worst scenario that could occur if we don't address this issue. And so I just want to thank you for your time, for your recognizing the importance of this issue, and hopefully for a favorable report on the bill.
Thank you so much. Good to see you, Nancy.
Good to see you.
Yeah. So just as a sort of little bit of a timing issue, we had to make some adjustments on the floor. So we're supposed to go on in about 13 minutes.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So, and I know I have 7 other people to testify. If you can just quickly make, if you can, the best you can do, a minute statement, and we'll keep rolling. Sue McClendon.
Yes, good morning, everybody, and thank you for hearing this very important issue. My name is Sue McClendon. I am the current president of the Board of MANSEF, the agency of schools that Senator Zucker so eloquently described. And I'm also the associate vice president of Arrow Child and Family Ministries. We have 4 MANSEF or non-public schools in Baltimore and Harford County. We are the last stop, as Dr. Grasmick just said, for publicly funded special education students. We do an invaluable work, and I was a teacher at a non-public school many, many years ago, but currently my job is to employ and retain teachers that serve the children that are in my schools and that I feel responsible for. Our teachers work enormously hard, all teachers do, but the salary gap that is mentioned makes things very challenging to make sure that the right people are in front of the children who need them. We tell our teachers that they need to work hard and be creative and have patience and persistence, but I see them make a choice year after year as public schools come a knocking and offer them a salary that is much higher than what I am able to give them. And I don't believe that anybody should have to make that choice between the passion of who they want to serve with such a amazing and vulnerable population, and also the choice of making sure that their life and their family has the assets that they need. So I really ask for your consideration for this bill so that we can make sure our children are served well in these locations. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Claire
Geinzer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. I appreciate you all for listening and being here today. My name is Claire Geinzer, and I'm a 3rd year K-2 teacher at the Catherine Thomas School in Rockville, Maryland. I received my Master's of Science in Special Education at Johns Hopkins University. The Catherine Thomas School serves students across multiple states and school boards due to the unique and individualized instruction it provides. For this reason, our students are given the best possible education, one they could only receive at a non-public special education school. Growing up, I was extremely fortunate to have a family that supported me financially to become a special education teacher. Looking back, if I were forced to have taken out loans, I would not have chosen this profession. Almost every week, I question my decision because of the pay I receive. A month prior to COVID-19, I was applying and interviewing for a public school position because of a lack of income. Throughout this 3rd year and watching how KTS continues to support and go above and beyond for their students, my decision to stay has been solidified. Since deciding to stay, I've had to take a second job, and in the future, if I want to buy a house, that is not a possibility with my current financial situation. They say that teachers teach not because of the pay, but because it is what they love to do. I, like many of my colleagues, struggle to make ends meet, but wake up every morning continuing this call of service because of our passion, our stories, and the love we have for our students. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Aaron Trulock.
Good morning, and thank you for your time. I'm also a special education teacher at the Catherine Thomas School in Rockville, Maryland. We serve students with language and learning disabilities, autism, intellectual disabilities, or other health impairments. I've been a teacher at the Catherine Thomas School for 7 years, and as Claire said, our students come from the surrounding school districts for comprehensive services that their own school districts cannot provide them. Although these are public school students being funded by local school districts and with help from the state and educated by state certified teachers and staff, our school is a non-public, and therefore our salaries are not at parity with the local school districts. At the end of each school year, I find myself in conflict whether to stay at KTS and provide specialized instruction at a lower pay or seek employment with one of the local school districts. I have 2 children of my own, and my choice to stay with a non-public to educate our students who have the greatest needs comes at a risk of not having enough income to provide for my own family. The cost of living in Maryland, especially housing, continues to rise. And even with being the chair of the math and science department at my school, being the lead teacher for our extended school year program, and tutoring on nights and weekends, I still don't come close to making up the pay gap with public school teachers. It just makes no sense that our highly qualified teachers who are state certified and who educate our most needy public school students should be paid less. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Pam Casemeyer.
Hello, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I'll be quite brief because you've had much more compelling testimony than I could ever give. But I just wanted to say, and I'm here on behalf of Linwood School, or the Linwood Center, which is a non-public school and residential program that serves autistic children. And I think what I wanted to say, just to add to what you've heard already, this bill in many ways couples with budget language you're going to consider when you make your budget decisions that the subcommittee adopted yesterday. This bill is designed to be sort of a 1 year, 2 year gap approach to make some short-term adjustments while the non-public schools work with MSDE to create a framework for their budget process that allows salaries to be adjusted and become on par over time. So because the budget process itself is a little different, and what happens when they try to adjust for salaries, then they get cut somewhere else. So this says MSDE work with the stakeholders. That's the budget language you'll consider. And in the interim, we're going to give you a bump so you can help with your salary disparities while you're readjusting the system. And with that, I would strongly urge a favorable report.
Thank you very much. Shalynn Jenkins.
Good morning, members of the committee. My name is Shalynn Jenkins. I'm a special education teacher at the Shepherd Pratt School of Rockville. I have taught students with disabilities, specifically at non-public schools, for over the last 14 years. I just want to share my experience with you with the sole intention of having you understand how special educators in non-public settings surpass their educational responsibility every single day. They provide special care and interventions because their philosophy is to teach the whole child, academically, behaviorally, socially, and emotionally. They have chosen to be a part of that because they truly support this mission. As a parent with twins with special needs, I am so thankful to the special education teachers who have been essential parts of their lives and development. They advocated for the boys just as much as I did. They saw their strengths and capabilities and did anything that they could to ensure that they were reaching their full potential. As a dedicated teacher in this field, I struggle to support my own family. I have seen so many incredible educators leave the field for this very reason. Our students truly deserve to have high quality teachers to sustain a high level of achievement. Non-public special educators have all of the same credentials as any other teacher who serves in the public school setting. I choose to serve non-public schools because I admire their tenacity. They create a meaningful impact with the special education population. This group of talented and passionate teachers willingly show up every day, and they should be treated equally. They have accepted that their dedication to making a difference in the lives of the children with special needs as their only reward. I'm here to advocate for them because we need a change, and this bill can help it. We constantly lose great teachers in this field because of this issue. And when that happens, our kids, our teens, our entire school community feel like we just took a huge hit. It's a loss that we simply cannot afford to take anymore. I am personally still recovering from members of my team that I have lost in the past year or two. I acknowledge and appreciate your support as you support us in establishing equity for all special education teachers.
Thank you very much. Melissa Delgum.
Good morning. My name is Melissa Delgum, and I've been a certified teacher at the Ivy Mount School in the Model Asperger program for the past 8 years. The amount of knowledge and growth that I've acquired since being at Ivy Mount has not only shaped my practices as an educator, but also my values. I wanted to provide some insight on the impact of the salary gap within our program. All of our students are diploma track and receive instruction that is on or above their grade level. This translates to them requiring instruction from highly qualified special educators within the content areas. The majority of special education teachers are working extra jobs after school or on the weekends in order to secure an income that will help them live comfortably in this area. This is on top of the extensive amount of additional trainings that we participate in to ensure we're up to date on the most current research and best teaching practices. Additionally, we work 11 months out of the year to ensure our students don't regress and continue to make progress, and do it all because we believe in the school's mission. We know that there are other options to make a higher salary, like the public school. We also know that our students deserve to be educated by highly qualified teachers, which is why we stay. However, there are some teachers that are not able to make it work and have to transition. This leads to a high turnover rate and difficulty competing with the public schools to hire a new certified teacher. One may not directly see this impact. However, for students who've experienced failure within their school career and are now in non-public settings like Ivy Mount, where they're finally experiencing success, to have their teachers who they start to build relationships with, admire, and excited to learn from have to leave for no other reason than to require a higher income is a huge disservice. As teachers, we often think about how much more effective we could be if we could take away the stress and time spent on jobs outside of teaching or living paycheck to paycheck and put all that energy back into professional development to continue to grow and learn so we can be the best teachers for our students, which is what they deserve. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And last up is Brooke Hess.
Hi, my name is Brooke Hess, and I've worked at Ivy Mount schools for almost 5 years. I started working at Ivy Mount after working in 2 Maryland public school systems, and I hold multiple special and general education certificates across multiple science and math content areas, and I currently teach high school chemistry at our school. I chose to work at Ivy Mount for less money because it's continued to provide unmatched training and a like-minded community for teachers and staff, but also the required services, support, and education deserved by our special population. However, over the past 5 years, I myself have witnessed one teacher after another receive the incredible mentoring and experience that Ivy Mount provides, only to leave after their first or second year because the salary at our school does not compete with public school teacher salaries. The consequence of this arrangement is that our students are left with the inconsistency of a revolving door of teachers, and the schools are unable to retain these highly qualified teachers. Most importantly, this inevitably has had a significant impact on our students' progress after parents and caregivers have fought for an appropriate educational placement for their child. Our school may be phenomenal at training, but it can't be a stepping stone to public school teaching positions. So I believe in our school's vision and our students, and I'll continue to do what I can to guarantee we're doing what is right and equitable by our students. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much. Not only do you guys do an amazing job every day in your positions, you did an amazing job testifying and got through that hearing very in a great way. So thank you so much for your cooperation. Thank you for what you do every day. And we look forward to having some more discussions about this bill as we move forward. Thank you. Good to see you all. Head to the floor, everybody.